This is my mate Steve.
Hi people.
We went to Egypt for his 40th and it changed our lives. We had temples, balloons, belly dancers, buffalo milk, and I met a goddess. We come from a place called Manchester in the north of England, and it's a great place, we love it very much. But in February, which is when it's Steve's birthday, it's rubbish. It's really cold, it rains all the time, and we really wanted to get out of here and get somewhere warm. I looked around for something interesting and a bit different. The one thing that ticked all the boxes was a Nile Cruise. We planned to stay for a few more days in Luxor, and that's when we met this guy, Omar, and everything changed. We were booked in for a load of organised group tours from the boat. The boat was fine, lovely people, nice room, absolutely no problem there. Our first tour was to Luxor Temple, which is right in the middle of the town of Luxor, and immediately I could see that I simply wasn't prepared for the scale of the monuments and the temples and the statues that we were going to be seeing. I mean, this is just huge. So this is the entrance to Luxor Temple with these gigantic statues of the pharaohs on either side of what were two enormous obelisks. The scale of it's just enormous. There's a plinth there where an obelisk was. That is now in the Place de la Concorde in Paris. And this is a running theme through all of these places in ancient Egypt and around Luxor, is the stuff that's been transported to other cities. Cleopatra's Needle in London. There's another one in New York. There's one in Istanbul. So we talk about appropriation of cultures, and no culture suffered more from that than the ancient Egyptian culture. But I was thinking about how familiar we are with ancient Egypt, and a lot of it is because of the export of those items. The ideas that these monuments represent have been exported all over the world. And it started me thinking about what these obelisks and symbols mean. There's an idea that I first came across in a book called Declare by the author Tim Powers, which is well worth a read. It's a bit of a romp, Second World War, supernatural spy thriller. But there's an idea in there about keystones that in some way, by placing representative items at the outskirts of our nations, we can in some way secure their perpetuity. There's a mosque in the middle of this ancient temple. The mosque is literally built on the foundations of ancient Egypt. This is a clear physical representation of the relationship between ancient Egypt in the temple, old Egypt as an Islamic country, and modern Egypt with the tourists. I didn't know any of this when I went out there and when we're walking around Luxor. This has all been research that I've done in the 2 years it's been since I was there. And one of the interesting items I came across was a book called The Temple of Man by R.A. Schwaller de Lubitsch, and he spent many years studying the architecture and the layout of this temple, and he concluded that it's built in the shape of a man, that the pylons that you see at the front are where the feet are, and at the back, in what would have been the secret room that only the highest priests and pharaoh would have been allowed into, represent the mind and the brain. Schwaller de Lubitsch probably spent a bit too much time in Luxor Temple. If there's a Luxor syndrome, like a Jerusalem syndrome, I think this bloke had it, it got to him. In the 2001 UK census, almost 400,000 people described their religion as Jedi Knight. This suggests to me that there are lots of people who feel that there is more going on around us than we can perceive. But the religions that we have, certainly the Abrahamic religions, just do not describe what we experience. There's something else going on, and my time in Egypt opened my eyes to that in really unexpected ways. You know that thing they say about some films and television when they call it mind-bending? Well, I've got news for you, Netflix. This is the entrance to Karnak Temple. The numbers are just mad. It was built over 2,000 years. It's over a square kilometre. That's like 3/4 of a square mile. It's absolutely massive. These pillars that you can see here are built to line up with the equinox. So you may have seen the sun right down the middle between those two pillars at the equinox. I've shoved a bit of time lapse in here just so you can see the numbers of people who are processing through this temple at any one time. Our tour guide was a nice fella. I haven't got anything bad to say about him, but he was hitting us with a lot of numbers about how high, heavy and old everything was. So I wandered off, as is my wont, and had my first magical encounter of my trip to Egypt. Day one at Karnak Temple, and there's magic in the air.
We are going to remove the very old restoration, which was done out of red bricks.
Oh, I see.
Red bricks,
right?
And the red bricks, it is very not good. So keep the water in the stone. And we are going to replace it with a stone light. So this is very old restoration from 1887. So this is what we do. So we are not demolishing something.
Oh no! I can see how proud everybody who we've seen in Egypt is of the history.
You are from where?
England. So this is our fault. The red brick is the British people.
I work in the British Museum.
Really?
General manager.
What's your name?
Khaled Helmi.
Raphael. Really nice to meet you. What a place. That's right. After I'd been there for 10 minutes, I met the general manager of the whole complex, and he was very keen to explain to me, when he saw me filming, what they were actually doing here. It looked to me, to my untrained eye, like it was all pretty high quality. You can see there's loads of people involved. Me and Steve went back to Karnak later in the evening for the Sound and Light show, which is pretty good. It's quite old-fashioned, it's quite English, so you've got the voiceovers are by like Ralph Richardson and Helen Mirren and sort of Royal Shakespeare Company type action. When we got back to the boat, we'd just caught the restaurant before it closed, and all these guys have been waiting for us to get back because that was the day of Steve's 40th birthday.
Steve!
And that was day one. Surprise, surprise. I am already falling in love with Luxor. We crossed the Nile before dawn. Up through the morning mist and the smoke from sugarcane stubble fires to see the Nile Valley laid out below us. What a vista. The Nile, the Valley of the Kings, the people that felt like we were in history. Look how happy we are. Hello! It turns out I'm not the greatest balloonist that has ever lived, so I was very proud of my certificate of completion when we landed. It was a fantastic experience. I recommend it very highly. This is our tour group with myself as guide, and this is the Valley of the Kings. And it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's getting really warm. And it's only just starting to get busy as well. It looks like they get literally hundreds of thousands of people here every day. So, ta-da! This is a relief map of the Valley of the Kings, which is at the entrance, and you can see how far some of these tombs are dug down. For one ticket, you get to choose 3 tombs to go and see. This fella is at one of the entrances. We're using these paper punchers to monitor how many tombs you've been in to see. And we went in to 3 of these tombs. The iconography of ancient Egypt and Tut Ankh Amun still features very largely in our modern culture. When Howard Carter and his team discovered the tomb in 1922, they launched what came to be called Tut Mania, where images and pictures and exhibitions of King Tut Ankh Amun and the amazing funerary artefacts that were found in that tomb made their way all over the world. Even a pope at the time, Pope Pius XII, said that the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb was a resurrection. He said, it's not an exhumation, it's a resurrection. And this again feeds into this idea that I had that was growing about how ancient Egypt lives with us and how ancient Egypt has had such a huge impact on our culture, and it's still very much present in so many of the things that we see in fashion and architecture and gaming and television and all kinds of things. And a big part of that was what was discovered in this tomb in 1922. Look at these colours. After 3,000 years, 3,500 years, these colours, it's just amazing. Every Egyptologist who I've heard speaking on this thinks that the vast majority of artefacts have yet to be discovered. Even though it's about thousands of years ago, it's alive now. 100 years ago, it was the tomb of Tutankhamun. The question is, what are they going to find next? It's very exciting. Magic, baby. This is the tomb of the Temple of Queen Hatshepsut. I just wanted to show you just a vast operation this is. There is thousands and thousands of people here. Friday afternoon. And that's the temple up there. This is the temple of Hatshepsut, who was a great queen in the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt, which was around 1500 BC. Hatshepsut's success is a great story in itself. She was ably assisted by her Prime Minister, Senenmut. The relationship between Hatshepsut and Senenmut is the subject of research by Dr. Campbell Price of Manchester University and the Egypt Exploration Society. And it's fascinating to be able to investigate palace intrigues from 3,500 years ago. Life aboard MS Nile Odyssey was supremely chilled as we headed up to Aswan from Luxor. This is from the Book of the Dead in a lovely translation by Normandy Ellis. What a journey I have made, the things I have seen. I am but one of you. In my hand I grasp the sailing mast, while my left hand trails in the water. The trees are heavy with figs and olives. A coconut drops to the ground. I have separated myself from myself to sail again on the green Nile waters. I sail to the temple where the gods have gathered to gaze at their faces in deep pools. In my boat, the souls of the years sail with me. I sniff the air. I grow and live. I breathe and live. On the banks of the Nile, the sky fills with birds and the sails of boats swell like lungs. Aswan is special. Aswan. It's got 2 dams, it's got the Temple of Isis, and it's got the best kebabs we had in Egypt. We still talk about these kebabs. They've become our kebabi benchmark. We went from ancient temples and monuments to the Aswan High Dam. I know that the completion of the Aswan High Dam has immeasurably improved the lives of Egyptians living in the Nile Valley, but I can't stop myself from wondering what the food tasted like when it was fertilised naturally by the silt coming down from the Blue Mountains, rather than the artificial fertilisers that they have to use today and have had to use for the last 50 years. I wonder what happened to the river gods when the Nile stopped flooding. Did they get stuck? Did they die? Are they still with us in regular, normal life? Is that Happy over there, the god of the flood? Is Sobek, fearsome, crocodile-headed, now dishing up falafel on an Aswan street corner? We were taken to a few different places to buy things, shopping opportunities, I guess you would call them. There was an alabaster place, a papyrus place, a perfume place, and a spice shop, where Steve picked up some balls that looked like walnuts but tasted like chocolate. When the High Dam was under construction, the world gathered together to save Abu Simbel and to save Philae temples, including the gorgeous Temple of Isis. I didn't get the chance to go to Abu Simbel on that trip, but I am planning to go the next time I go to Egypt, which is very soon. I'm really looking forward to it. There was an international campaign to save these temples, and this is the first time in the 3,500 years since these things were built that money exists through tourism. Us going to visit these places means that they have a new life. Tourism has brought ancient Egypt back to life. This is from the Book of the Dead. Rejoicing in the houses, the sound of brass bells on dancing ankles, the hips of women are swaying through dusty streets. Day upon day the sun is risen. Day upon day the sun will rise. Day upon day this heat on adobe walls and the splay of light on Osiris. It is life I desire, and my lust for it and I shall enter the heart of the mountain together. Together we shall be judged by shining beasts, and they shall say, there walks he who loved life. One day with a shout, I'll rise through the sky, my voice will mingle with air. That's our boat over there, one of those, and this is the temple of Kom Obo, which was built over a 400-year period, ending in 300 BC, so it's much more recent than the stuff we saw in the last few days. What do you think of it, Stu?
Lovely, very old. Do like a paint.
What about all the animals?
Amazing. Yeah, very detailed.
Yeah, so we're seeing like crocodiles, cranes, lizards,
Vultures, feathers on birds, which is very detailed compared to some of the other hieroglyphs we've seen in other temples. Italics, a bit more modern.
But it's almost like a different sort of religion. It doesn't feel. Don't you think it feels different to Luxor and Karnak?
Definitely. A lot different. A lot more Greek influence, I reckon.
Yeah. Loads of animals, loads of crocodiles. As Jim, the big tall Scottish fella, is saying, have you seen that one over there? It's a crocodile taking a beer o'clock, so me and Steve are going to have a drink. But just to give you a sense of how much is going on here, and it's calm, quite well organised, really, not overpriced. Oh, here we go. And here's Chris. Here's Chris with the.
Speaking of beer, here's our mate Chris with the beers.
Fantastic. So, I'm not sure why all of these ships were moored up at Komombo. It's right near Esna Lock. You can see that fabulous temple there, but it did give us a sense of the scale of the Egyptian tourist industry. This is the temple of Usna, which dates from 276 BC, and it's got 48 of these columns, and they are still excavating it. Komombo, Edfu, Esna. Some of the temples started to blur into each other, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going back, to spend more time in fewer places. There were various outings and expeditions that we did from the cruise boat with this nice group of people that we were with, including Steve getting to stroke an alligator. I can report that while we were there, there was a death on the Nile. It was me and Steve murdering Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. Everything still remains the same. Everywhere that we went on the boat, these little blue rowing boats followed us around, trying to sell us things, including this wonderful Nefertiti towel. which I actually quite wish I'd bought now. I was in reception and I had a look out the window and I saw that this little blue rowing boat who'd been trying to sell us things was tied on. So I went up the back to have a look. There's like 20 of these rowing boats all lashed on, getting lifted downstream. That was the end of our time on the MS Odyssey. We'd already decided that we didn't want to return to our Red Sea resorts. We had no plans, we had no idea what we were going to do. It turned out that that was crucial to our fully embracing the experience of discovering the real Luxor. From the boat, we checked into the Windsor Hotel on Nefertiti Street, very near the Nile and not far from the Luxor Museum. It was like being on a film set. Actually, it was like being in an episode of The Twilight Zone. With the sun setting over the Nile, and the call to prayer. Goosebumps, absolute goosebumps. One evening I was looking to get something to eat in the hotel, so I went to reception and I asked if they had some food, and the guy said bear with him a sec, expecting him to go and get a menu, but in fact he came back with the chef. And I said to the chef that I was looking for something to eat, and he looked at me and he said, would you like chicken or meat? And that was the menu. So I had the chicken and it was fine. This is Omar. He just managed to sell loads more stuff than we wanted from his shop, Heavy Spices. And as a gift for us, he's brought us to have some sugarcane drink. We got approached by a guy who asked us if we wanted to see the real Luxor. He could see that we were off the beaten track and that we wanted to see more of the town than just the things that the tourists saw. And he adopted us. Omar wanted to show us a side of things that we wouldn't have seen as package tourists.
Are you making video?
Yeah.
This is the real Egyptian people here, not with a guy. Yeah. We are local people.
Exactly, that's what we want. This is buffalo milk.
And
Milk.
buffalo milk. Fresh just now.
Hello, we're on the Nile Smile with Captain Ahmed. We're getting them in these little buns. They're freshly baked, look good. Got some chilli, some chips, some kind of salt there. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have a this?
Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh, it's delicious. Really light and crispy. He's already tried the chili. What do you think of the chili?
Too spicy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice deep fried chili. His Omar's got his food as well. It's nice. This is Natalie. He's going to be taking us around Luxor this afternoon. Driven by Omar. He's helping us out. He enlisted the help of his friend Khalil, who had a horse called Natalie and a cart behind it, which I now know is called a barouche. He picked us up early and we crossed the river over to the west bank. We stopped in this village where Steve got these amazing portrait shots. at this fella. So proud of his enormous cabbages.
My name is Gabor, it's Artif Valley. All what he makes is our handmade, like Egyptian ancient time. This is my favorite, my work, my family artist. After he cut it, this is the gentleman.
Yeah.
He draw with a pen, by a small metal. This is the pen.
Beautiful.
How many wives you have, Mr. Steve? How many? Oh, zero? Oh my God.
Now zero.
If you have a wife, you make you problem. Don't buy this one to throw it back. When you have a problem, I will tell you. Put it in a Eric, you can listen, big Marley, no women, no cry. هو شغل الباب هو خلى حالي حال هو كلام والله معاك بصراحة
Job. Well, this is, I think, rather than have the guides and all of that stuff, this is a very cool way to do it.
Cheaper, it's easy and real, natural.
And they're so, these people have got so much charm.
They're great people.
They really are. Nice to meet you, Christian.
Egypt is excellent. It's funny because in Canada they say it's dangerous. Egypt is.
Great.
Take care.
See you soon, mate.
I hope you are feel good. Anyway,
Yeah. What can you do? Oh, here we go. Oh, fantastic. Got to take a run up, like the horse. This is Khalil with Natalie. Great. Superb. One of the things Omar said was, no tourists, no money. Egypt hasn't really recovered in terms of tourism from the Arab Spring. They have struggled a great deal with inflation since lockdown. Just come over the railway bridge back into Luxor, and there's the temple. Let's go. I am telling you to go and visit Egypt, and particularly Luxor, because we loved it and it changed us, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Temple of Karnak on a Friday morning. We have visited before, but I just feel like it's so enormous. We wanted to come in on our own without a guide to just see a bit more of the site and feel a bit about the kind of power here, you know. Been let into the temple of Ptah, Sekhmet, and look at that. Sekhmet, yes. If Manchester had a goddess, Sekhmet would be it. Her whole origin story revolves around the consumption of heroic quantities of beer. Seems like my kind of goddess. So, what does being an adherent of Sekhmet mean to me? The task I've been given is to express my own creativity and to encourage creativity in others. That is my compact with the goddess Sekhmet. So, have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Pray to her and pray for me. Thanks for watching, everybody.